listening to every Saturday at 4 o'clock here at WAEN.TV. This is our 141st show, meaning 140 shows ago we started this program, trying to bring truth and knowledge to the table about veterans and veterans benefits. You know, over the years we have been doing this, and we believe that now everybody needs to just shake it off. It's Saturday, November the 26th. We just had Thanksgiving dinner, and we're getting ready to put Christmas toys under the tree. We need to think about veterans benefits like never before. Right now, I want everybody and their brother, if you're watching, tell everybody else to stop doing what they're doing right now and just sit before your internet TV or on your smartphone, however you're watching or listening. You know, let's engage this conversation right now because the election is over. Yeah, there are a lot of disturbance in the country like never before, and there are good reasons for a recount. But the election itself is over. The predictions are in. You know, it's such a controversial thing. We don't know what's going to happen on the 19th of December, when the real vote is counted. You know, when the electors count their vote. If they did what was right and followed the popular vote, then Donald Trump is not president-elect. That's something for us to think about. You know, it's something for us to marvel over when we look at a country that have stood for 240 years and we have popular votes, and only 2 times in my remembrance that I can remember that the person that got the popular vote was not elected president. That was when Al Gore ran against George Bush, the dangling Taz in Florida. Al Gore got more votes, Bush got the electoral votes. Well, now we got the same kind of incident. Hillary got more more popular votes, but Donald Trump got the electoral votes projectively. Now, that's a projection vote. The actual vote is not solidified or verified until December the 19th. So actually, we really still don't know. But we do know this. We're in America, and anything is possible in America. What we want today to think about, though, is to think, I want to salute my grandson and all the other young people that serving in the U.S. Armed Forces today, that's still protecting and preserving the freedom that we have in this country. A freedom to go through the kind of election that we just went through, the freedom to do what we're doing right now, right here at WAEN.TV. We're talking Veterans Talk. Now, one of the most urgent issues for me, we know that the election is over. The Republicans, which is the minority party, really, it's the smallest party. It's not in control of the entire government. They're in control of the judiciary because they're about to appoint 70-some judges and another Supreme Court judge. You know, they're in charge of the House and the Senate and the presidency. So that gives them absolute control of the government, meaning there is no opposition that's strong enough to stop any kind of bill or any kind of action that they proclaim they want to do. Now, we know that all of them, you know, when Donald Trump was running for president, he got all these veterans that stood behind him, and I got his plan. He made a lot of promises. One of the promises was that he was going to stop veterans from having to wait too long. Right now, I can tell you this. Cases that are filed in 2016 got to wait till the cases that were decided in 2012. See, that means if your case was in 2014, you are 4 years behind. It's taking right now an average of 4 years, 4 to 5 years to get a claim through the VA process for a lot of people that's not filing the fully developed claim. So we need to understand how that system works and look at it and get the Congress to look at it and get the president-elect to really look at this system. Now, 400,000 cases, okay, just for simple math, translate that, if that's 400,000 veterans, every one of them was granted 100%, that would be $3,000 per month. 400,000 times 3,000 per month. That's the money that's being held back right now from veterans and veterans benefits. We have to look at it like that because we don't know what the claims are, but we're just saying 100% claim nets the average veteran $3,000 a month. And if you got 400,000 of those cases being held up, that's not only the $3,000 a month that's due to that household, that's also economic deprivation in that community because that money is not being spent in the community. This is Veterans Talk. We want people to understand how do we go about looking at this backlog. The backlog is people like Denise Davis, whose case has been in the claim process truly for 30-some years. So, but now she got it in a point where they actually got enough evidence to make a right decision, and they're sending it around everywhere. It's been around, it's been upside down, it's in the backlog. It's in the backlog. But how does Denise live while this case is in the backlog? You know, she's living economically deprived because the benefits that's due her is not being given to her on a monthly basis. It's in backlog. We want to understand what the backlog is. Backlog is when Elijah Poe, a Vietnam veteran with 3 Purple Hearts, you know, he was taken into custody by the enemy. They had to kill some enemies to get him out of being a prisoner of war. His case is in backlog. It's been in backlog for 8 years. He's been bounced up and down the system for 8 long years, and they just sent it back up to the Board of Veterans Appeals. This is the backlog. How is he living while we are in the backlog? He's living with help from his family and his friends. You know, David Billingsley, who just went to a personal care home for recovery, been trying to get aid and attendance care for the last year now. Everything that's in the system, his case is in backlog. You know, there's nobody there to care for him. He don't have the necessary resources to care for himself and to make sure that somebody's there to care for him every day. These are what we're talking about when we're talking about 460,000 people waiting on their claims to be dealt with at VA. There's no greater time right now than now for the Republicans to change the system. The president-elect said that he would change the system, that he would make sure that technology is put into the system where the system will be functioning in the 21st century. Because truly, the VA has not had any major overhaul since 1947. That would probably be 70 years ago. So we need to understand that we got a system that's trying to work in modern times that was created 7 decades ago. Well, over 7.
Technology.
Huh?
How come they're not using technology?
Well, that's because the citizenry has not impressed upon them the need to use technology. Veterans and dependents especially. I'm calling veterans and dependents out today because we need to focus on these things. These are the things that we need to communicate to the congressmen and to the senators. If we are not communicating it to them, how do we expect them to know? You know, they might think everything is okay if nobody is complaining about the system. You know, we can complain all day to each other. But what we need to do is to be complaining to the people that have the power to change the system. You know, we need to let them know the stories of these 460,000 cases. These are not just numbers, they are people, they are families that have served and they're sick and they need help. And they're not getting the help that they need. And you know, at the tomb right now, 22 are committing suicide every day. 22 veterans are committing suicide. 15 Vietnam-era veterans are dying from exposure to herbicide that happened 50 years ago. Technology needs to be brought into the VA. And there is no better time than now. We got, the Republicans have control of the government. They're the ones that like to use the military. They're the ones that don't have any problem with sending us into harm's way. There's no better time than now for them to change the VA. But they're not going to change the VA. They're not going to do any more than what's been done if they don't hear an outcry from us. Malcolm said it best. It's the crying baby that gets attention. if we don't be doing no crime, if they don't see no movement from us, they're going to look over there and say, well, everything's all right over there. And we need to make sure that people understand that it's a frustration with the way Paul Finnegan's case is in backlog. His case been in backlog since '09 when he was discharged from the military with a severe adjustment disorder. Where the military said, well, we decertifying you, you'll never be able to work no more, you can go into society. And have society said the same thing? Yeah. Social Security, have VA is arguing with the realities of it. These are the cases in backlog. These are real cases. These are real human beings. I can talk about them all day because I'm with them all the time. I see their cases all the time. You know, I hear their voices. I know what they're going through in their daily struggle to live in an economic system where they don't have any income or they don't have sufficient income to carry their daily responsibility. So we need to make this backlog issue an issue with a face on it. You know, I think what, Denise, can I see the opinion that you just got back from Senator General Atkinson? Denise contacted the senator, and he wrote a letter to the VA. And believe me, the VA responded. And they responded in details that they hadn't given Denise. They just hadn't given her this response. You know, this is the kind of stuff that the VA is so locked down in, they can't even respond to the claimant. The claimant has to go to the congressman, the congressman get it there, and they send it to the claimant. This is a roundabout process that takes too much time. You know, while they was doing all this, they saying now that you got in 45 days, within the next 45 days, they're gonna make some kind of either a statement of the case or a request for more information to you within the next 45 days. You know, well, this case, they don't need any more information. All the information that they're gonna get is already in their hands. What they need to do is look at the realities of the information that they have and make a decision. I mean, the information was in Cabinet's records when they made the decision before. Now, they overlooked the information. The information is there. Now they're trying to say something's wrong with the page. The information is wrong. It's in its records. You know, the VA we need to make people understand what is this backlog. This backlog is an argument with VA with the claimants. That's really what it is. They're saying no in ways that the claimant can say, I can't be graphic like that on TV, but no. You know, no, you're not doing that right. You're not saying it right. You got the facts wrong. And here are the facts. And VA will take the facts and say, well, the T on the bottom of the letter is not crossed, or it's faded. We can't see it. So we need some real evaluation of how the VA is functioning. You know, I don't want to. I might be a little facetious with the way it's sounding, but we're dealing with real people every day. You know, I have been dealing with real people filing claims since 1975, and I've seen a lot of people die before they got their claims through the VA. But I'm gonna tell you something. I've been filing claims in the VA since 1975, and it's getting worse than it ever been. Getting worse than it ever been, because now you have raters and evaluators that want to argue with the facts of the records. You know, in the old days, they just looked at the records with there, it was over. Now they look at the records there, they want to turn it over, look upside down and see why it ain't been, you know, and come up with some asinine reason why it can't be accepted as evidence of record. So we need legislative changes at VA. See, VA don't have any rules of evidence. So if that tells you this, whatever evidence they want to put in the records, rules. And that's what got the backlog. That's where your backlog. Your backlog is an argument of VA with the claimant. That's all it is. And all we need is somebody to get up there and resolve the dispute. Look at the record and say, wait a minute, VA, you're right in this case, and the veteran need to do this here just to make sure he can get his benefit. VA, you just wasting time. Give the veterans benefit. You're not gonna waste any more time with this. You know, there's some cases that you just look at and say, okay, it's over, because VA is arguing with the claimant about the evidence of record. When we get those kind of cases, we shouldn't have to, it shouldn't be no back and forth, because the claimant don't generate the records. The records is about them, but it's generated by the U.S. Department of Defense. You know, I don't know not one person that ever went into the military and generated his own records. Because if I'd have generated my own, I would have been in there long. I'd have generated myself right on in there and right on out. But no, that's a joke. But at the same time, you don't generate your own records. You know, you don't have that opportunity when you're in the military. What's put in your records in the military is put in there by the people that are seeing you, are treating you, you know, are managing you, not you. You don't get a chance to go in there and say, give me my records, I want to put this in there. It doesn't work like that. You can't go in there and say, give me my records, I want to take that out either. It doesn't work like that. So, evidence of records. Legislative should be told to VA, listen, you can't argue with the records. If it's in the records, it's in the records. You can't get nothing to do with what's in the record. If it's in the record, it's in the record. There's no question about it being in the record. It's a part of the record. The backlog is an argument. I want everybody to try to understand what I'm saying now. It's an argument between the VA and the claimant. You done made a claim and the VA saying you ain't got no evidence to prove it. And a lot of times the evidence is in the record. And once the VA says you ain't got no evidence to prove it, the evidence is in the record, they don't want to see it. They become some kind of way, you know, a veil come over their eyes. That, yeah, it comes up and they want to say, well, they want to send you to a hospital that they know they done tore down. they know they done tore the hospital down, so, you know, that's the hospital they're going to reference. You go up there and say, oh, they tore the hospital down. It no longer exists. VA knew it didn't exist when they told you that. So we need people in the process to stop arguing with the claimant and start dealing with the facts of the case. You can do that. Like, I know you can do it in less than 2 weeks. They elevated me from 70 to 100% in less than 2 weeks because they wanted me gone from the VA. They took my records and they walked them through so fast that it made my head swim. You got it. I got it. I got what? You got gone. You got gone. Because we done decided that you are not capable of working no more. Nowhere. You know, listen. But now the other side of the coin, it took some 16 years after I left Vietnam wounded in combat to service connect me in the first place. So, you know, the system is getting worse. You got people in the process now that would rather argue with the records. I mean, argue with you claimant. And looking at the records and they say, oh yeah, well, it happened to you when you was in the military, but you ain't complaining about that no more, so it don't matter. It doesn't matter. It happened to you in the military. You know, Congress needs to just tell these folks, it happened to them in the military. You know, you can't keep arguing against that. You cannot set up little roadblocks and say, well, it happened to you in the military but you came out of the military, you didn't complain about it till now, so you can't complain about it now. It happened to you in the military. We need legislative mandates to tell VA, when you got evidence, you got evidence. And one of the reasons I say this is because I go out to the town hall meetings and I see all these employees out there, all these people that are working, they're getting paid to see all these guys that's trying to get income for their household. And they're not helping them. You know, they're keeping their jobs by telling these people that they got to do this and they got to do that. At one time out there, I had 3 people on one veteran's file. And all of them told him the same thing. You got to wait We don't need to do nothing else, but you got everything ready. You got to wait because we working on 2012. This is 2016. The man is 72 years old with diabetes and some more stuff. They're passing the buck. And the prevailing attitude with that, and these with passing the buck, is that they're undermining the confidence of veterans' independence in the system. You know, and that's the sad part about it, because people are walking off on the system saying, forget about it. I ain't messing with them no more.
Yeah, they get discouraged.
They're discouraging you.
Yeah, they're giving up.
They're giving up. And there are thousands upon thousands that done gave up. You know, I know people that got evidence of record about things that happened to them in the military, and when they get to the VA, because they ain't never been to the doctor, to the VA before, the VA saying, well, you ain't complaining about it. But it happened to them in the military. Do you have to wear a string around your finger all the days of your life because something happened to you in the military? You went in to serve your country, you served it, something happened to you. It was unfortunate. It's the price you pay for the freedom that we enjoy every day. We need to deal with that. As a grateful nation, we don't need to argue with somebody that's been injured or disabled by their service. You should make sure that their income is more than medium income. It should not just be above the poverty level. It should be middle class income. I mean, we gave up a lot to go into the military. And to come back and to say, well, you got to live below the poverty line. You can't enjoy the same freedom that you went to serve and fight to enjoy. And in so many cases, the disability prevents you from enjoying those benefits yourself. And people have to understand that. So it's incumbent that people have to understand why it's so critical that the dependents get the benefits. The dependents. Because when that individual is suffering, when they're sick, it's the family that take care of them. People forget, it's not some agency, like I think they mix it up with homeless veterans. They think that, you know, when a veteran is sick, somebody taking care of them outside the family. It is the family that have to go through all of the mental dynamics it takes to live with somebody with severe PTSD or schizophrenia or bipolar. You know, you can go through that stuff so much you can become a victim of it yourself. You know, we're finally beginning to understand this is the face of the backlog. We're not talking about something that's off in cyberspace that has nothing to do with real people. We're talking about households in our community right now. You know, some of them you might not even know it because they got the flags flying on the porch. And they want you to think everything is all right because that flag is flying. But in that household,
that's a miracle for you.
that's a miracle. And it's no better time than now for us to bring this to the front of the table. For us to put this backlog out there where America can see it. And I think it would be one of the greatest moves the Republicans could make right now.
So what do you need to do?
Well, Denise, you're doing what you need to do. Get the senators. What people don't know, and I want everybody to listen to this now. Johnny Axon, our senator, is the chairman of the Senate Committee on Veteran Affairs. He got the magic pen. He can write the legislation that will change this stuff. And I think if he get enough complaints from veterans, he'll do it.
And we just found out that he was for the veterans, didn't we?
No. We haven't just found out that he's been on that committee. He was on that committee when we went. We've been complaining all along. We've been complaining to Johnny Atkinson all along. But Johnny Atkinson has did just what everybody else did. They used the opposition to say what they couldn't do. See, that's what I'm saying. I got letters from Johnny Atkinson talking about how much he wanted to do something about this backlog. Mr. Atkinson, you got the pen now. That's what we're saying. You see what the VA is doing. Let's stop this. See, he got evidence right here of how the VA is doing what Donald Trump said they want to stop. You're waiting too long. You're going through too many changes with this case when the evidence is already in the record. I can understand if the evidence wasn't in the record. Now, the evidence is in the record. It's a matter of record. But they want to argue with the record. That's all I'm saying. Just stick with the record. Don't go in there and look at the record and say, okay, oh, that record support them, so let's find a way to say the record is wrong now. That's what VA is actually, well, I don't know what they're saying. They done said so many different things about this until they done confuse me. If I didn't know I was right, I would truly be confused, but I know I'm right, so that's the only thing that keeps me from really being confused by the VA, is that I know
you
I'm
ain't
right.
commit suicide.
No, I'm not gonna bless them like that. You know, I'm not gonna bless them. I'm not gonna bless them like
They're
that.
not gonna win.
No, I'm not gonna let them bless them. I might be a victim of homicide, but I won't be a victim of suicide. So listen, one of the things that we need to do, and that's what I'm trying to do today, is to put a face on this backlog. And I want to put a cause with this backlog too. I think right now the Republicans need to show America something. I mean, they really need to show America their concern, because there's a lot of people out there right now feel like, you know, Republicans really don't have that much concern about regular people. So what better issue in America today do they have than to straighten up the VA? There's no greater issue. That's what we need to urge upon Mr. Axson. Mr. Axson, you got the pen. You got the pen. And I write a little bit, so I know you can write to change the rules. That's what laws are. You enact a law, you tell VA, you got 30 days to decide a claim. VA gonna come up with a way to do that case in 30 days. You give them mandates, they meet them. If they can't meet them, you remove them. That's what Donald Trump said he wanted to do. That's what we got. We got a Republican House, we got a Republican Senator, and we got a Republican President. We need a Republican action on this stuff. So they don't have any excuses. And if we don't push them, we shouldn't have no excuse for whatever they do to us. Whatever the outcome of what they do, we should applaud, because we ain't holding their feet to the fire. What we're going to do, we're going to stand back and say, I didn't vote for them. We live in America. It don't matter if you didn't vote for them or not. Once they're elected, they're your representative. They represent you. Don't care what party they in, or whether you voted for them or not. You got the right to knock on that door and say, Senator or Congressman, you represent my district. You represent my issue. Johnny Atchison represents the issue of veterans in the state of Georgia and in the United States of America. Johnny Atchison got the pen. He got the pen that can write the changes that we want done at VA. And it's only a matter of legislative mandates. They talking about people, well, they're going to continue to have corrupt people because by nature, man is corrupt. So what we going to stand around Crooked Hillary, Crooked Dawn? You know, we got election. We need to move forward on the issues. Now, what issue would be more meaningful to America than to fix the VA? For one thing, it's the only national healthcare system that we have right now that nobody wants to throw away. The other healthcare system, the Affordable Health Care Act, they want to demolish that, and then some parts of it need to be demolished. But the VA is a national healthcare system that's been in existence for almost 100 years. And it's functioned pretty good to a degree, but it needs to be tweaked. So this is a good opportunity for the Republicans to show America what kind of programming they're willing to come up for the betterment of America. To make America great again, start with the VA. Start with the veterans. Start with these are the people that go into the military and come out of the military with disabilities and injuries that change their lives. We want you to do what you say you're gonna do in the first 100 days, fix the VA. Now, we want to talk about some other stuff that's taking place. We got a new community access center at 1554 Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard. That's where my new office is. That's where the office is now. We are changing over, kind of slow getting up because donations are slow. It's kind of hard to make moves for an organization when you don't have the income to do it. And now, financially, we've been doing what we're supposed to do. But we need more donations. We need more fundraisers from our supporters and our members. Because the office setup we got, it costs us $700 a month. Last month we paid it. This month is due again. We are continually generating expenses without generating income. So what I'm asking our members and our supporters to do is start looking around and doing what we used to do. If you got work around your house that you need done, call Veterans Odd Job Service. That gives us an opportunity to get the work done for you under contract. And that helps you. Every time we do a job, that helps the chapter. Not only helps the chapter financially, but it also helps veterans because most of the time the jobs that we do, if it's a cleanup job, we get veterans to do it. Veteran-owned companies are the only companies that we really deal with the Veteran Odd Job Service. Are companies that hire veterans. So if you got stuff around your house that you need to be done, call us Veteran Odd Job Service at the Community Access Station. We still got the same number, 678-732-0218. So also, we're doing the community service program out of the access station. This program is designed for college students and high school students. If you got a college student that needs community service, give us a call. If you got a high school student that needs community service, give us a call. Okay, we're also going to be doing the free phones from the community center too. So we'll be doing the free phones on every Wednesday, all day from 10 to 3 o'clock. On the other days, we'll do the phones by special order from Gateway and from the VA Homeless Program. Otherwise, we'll just be open to the public just on that Wednesday. And we'll also be doing the Sons of Atlanta from up there. We're getting a new T-shirt design. Your T-shirts on order when you got one more T-shirt coming. Gabriel got one T-shirt, but we're getting a new design too with the T-shirts. You got another guy that's working on that's a Marine. Gonna come up with a design for the Sons of Atlanta. And we got the Affordable Housing and Veteran Business Task Force working out of this office as well. Now, what this is doing? You know, one of the biggest problems in America is having affordable housing, not just for veterans, but for everybody. You know, it was doing when Barack first running for president. There was a guy running for president, and there was a joke. They said he was running from the rent too damn high party. I mean, so the rent was too high for everybody in America, and he was making good sense. Because right here in Atlanta, Georgia, right now, the average rent is about $700 a month. And the average income is about $700 a month. You know, so you see the dynamics that people can't afford to pay rent on the incomes that they're working. You see a lot of people working at these fast food places. They can't pay rent. They don't make enough money to pay rent. Now let's say, when you got 40% of Americans, now this is something that people need to know, and this is why I like listening to Al Sharpton. 40% of Americans live under poverty line. That's sad. In a country that has so much, that just go to show you that selfishness is overruling love, and it shouldn't do that. You know, selfishness should never overrule love. We think that we're not selfish because a lot of people say, I just care about mine. Well, if I just care about mine, that means I'm gonna suck up all that oxygen from the rest of the world. I ain't gonna have mine on, because the rest of the world's not gonna let me suck up all the oxygen from them. They're gonna do something to stop me. So we got to get back to this thing that Dr. King called it the love community. You know, the common good. We have to start thinking about, especially when we're looking at some of the things that are happening now. A lot of people don't want to talk about global warming, but I'm Georgia born and Georgia bred. It should be cold now. It shouldn't be hot in November. You know, it just shouldn't be hot in November. My mom used to have to run me outside in November. Now you can't stay in the house, it's so hot. You know, it's cold. November's supposed to be cold. You know, we got things happening with our universe. Last year, the grass in my yard never died. So that means a lot of the insects that was there last year, there now, and they come in with all different kind of stuff going on. And we need to be very conscious of what we're doing with the environment. You know, one of the things that we need to talk about as veterans is how that we're going to be more community oriented. It's time for us to come out of our cocoon and get out in the community and volunteer, because we do bring a lot of skills and discipline to the table. And I'm looking at some of the young kids in our community. Now, this is another fact that we have to look at in our community. 65% of households are headed by single parents. 65% are headed by single parents. That means that you got, but most of those single parents are female. So they don't have any help with raising that son. They don't have any help with raising that son. And as a result, you're having sons raised without understanding their real role in life as a provider, as a protector of his family. You know, it's sad that our young men are not raised like that anymore. We're supposed to be the providers. We're the protectors of the family. Well, right now, the young black man is in such an endangered state that the mother has to protect him. She has to protect him because he's going out in the street and getting himself killed because, you know, he's not being raised to go to school, to learn to be a provider, learn to be a generator for his family. You know, I had learned, I was shining shoes when I was 10. I was cutting hair when I was 12. Because I came out of a family that just, you had to learn stuff. You had to learn how to, you had to learn how to do things. You know, if my granddaddy said, if you want something extra, you got to do something extra. So I had to go shine shoes. You know, that was to get that little extra money. You know, and then when the shoe shine didn't work, I said, well, you do something else. I learned how to cut hair. You know, but you got young men now that can't change a doorknob. Because they're not being trained by men that learn to do these things, or were taught to do these things. See, I was made to go out and cut wood. To get wood for that. That's where I don't know about cutting wood now, because, you know, they don't realize that we used to have wood stoves and wood heaters and that. We didn't have the electric stuff to go in and pop it on. You had to go outside and get it and come in there and fix it up so the house would be warm. So we need to get our young men into learning how to be providers, learn how to be protectors in the community again. Because right now, they don't even know how to fight. They don't know how to shoot guns, so they doing drive-bys. They're killing each other. They're killing innocent people. You know, we have a situation in our community where veterans need to step up to help those that can. And I'm going to say this. As a veteran with a disability, it's volunteering that helped me manage my disability symptoms. By being meaningful, by keeping some meaning in my life, it keeps me from gravitating, falling victim to my symptoms. You know, because your symptoms are going to beat up on you anyway. If you ain't got something that's kind of acting on a positive level every day, I get up every day, I got something to do. I know I got something to do because I'm doing it for some other veterans or their dependents. So I know I got something to do that's positive. And the best thing for me is when I get the results, when I start seeing the results coming out of it, I see people's lives change and they can go on and enjoy some quality of life. Veterans have to come out of that cocoon. One of the things that we're pushing with the veteran business is that we want, well, not just we, the VA want disabled veterans to become active in the community. And they're giving us business license with no taxes. I mean, how great could that be? In other words, if I work hard enough, next year I can start hiring people. You know, I can actually start creating jobs in the community myself with a disabled veteran own business. See, so everybody can do something to make the community better. And they can do something to make the VA better. You know, like we interact with the VA on several different levels. I sit on the advisory board. I do volunteer with volunteer services, help them out with the certificate of honor when they're giving out in nursing homes. I go out to the nursing homes to help out with that. So it's always something that veteran can do to help out, and that's what we want to see more of as we push forward to put a face on this backlog. The backlog is one of the things that most veterans encounter now that's not using the e-benefits system. Because e-benefits means that you're pretty much filing a fully developed claim, meaning like we did in your case in these, we gave them all the evidence we had, you know, and that was all the evidence that was needed. Then they came back with this doctor's name out on the bottom of the page, this kind of stuff, you know, but that's the backlog. But we got to make sure that people see you're in backlog. You've been waiting on your case, your claim, and the things that you have to go through, the jobs that you have to try to work to keep, you know, sufficient yourself while you're waiting on the system to do what they should have did in 1989. Moving around. You know, and the other part about it is that the sensitivity of the people that's moving it around is safe. You know, they don't have any real connection to reality. It's just a case. You know, they don't see the people involved in what they might be going through as they send them around the roads, is knowing good and well that the evidence of record is not going to change. That evidence has been in that record since it was put there in 1967. And it's still there. It's still there now. But they got a problem with the evidence of record. And that's all that they got a problem with, is the evidence of record. And what bothers me with this kind of case is that you got young people that look like me and you looking at that won't change the decision. They'll push it back around. Because there is no legislative mandates that they got to deal with the evidence of record. That's just the ugly truth of it. They don't have any mandates. Understand what I'm saying? Any mandates that would tell them that stuff was in this man's record, he didn't put it there. It's the evidence of records you got to move on. You can't do nothing else with it. You can't look at the bottom of the page. You can't look at the top of the page. You just got to look at the page and say, that's what it says. It's there. That's the end of the story. But let me tell you a little secret now. In the 30 years that they've been pushing you around, they done retired 2 or 3 people. They done retired 2 or 3 people that could work, that were working on your case. And then paid them for their retirement. So it's an economic issue that we have to put in front of this congressman and these senators. That one of the reasons that, and I'm saying this, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to start talking about this today. I think that one of the reasons that this backlog issue is not the hot topic that it should be today is that most of the people in backlog look like me and you.
Why? Because we're not foaming at the mouth?
No, because we are not standing up demanding our rights as a unit, as together. That's why. You know, when we learn to do that, then we can stop all the other stuff about they don't do this and they raise that. Listen, power concedes nothing without power. Power concedes nothing without power, without force. We have to keep that in mind. We have to know that these people are not going to do anything for us unless they see us doing something for ourselves. I'm gonna tell you a story. Her husband, Joseph Wright, and I were in prison together, and we started something in prison that, well, there was no picture taking. Nobody taking pictures in prison when we went to prison. we started camera project in prison and made money like crazy for the veteran group and for the group that we was heading. And when they put us out of prison, when we left prison, they changed the whole system. Now the inmates can't do it no more. The commissary does it. And the institution took it over. See, so you can lock up people, but you can't lock up their minds. See, that's what I'm trying to say to people now. We can do some amazing stuff together if we try. See, and that movement that we started in prison, I got pictures of it now. The joke was they put me out of prison because we stopped the killings, we stopped the fights, and everybody was trying to work together. And we got pictures of the Muslims, the Hispanics, the whites, the blacks, all of them working together. You know why? All of them was veterans before they was prisoners. And that was our appeal. We put the veteran in them, and they all came together, and we changed the whole prison system. Changed it. Changed the prison system. We had education. Listen, I got 3 college degrees in prison. One of them was a law degree. But when I went in there, there wasn't no program in the prison system for me to do that.
They used to have schools. You could get a degree. Now they don't do that anymore.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They stopped it. They stopped that when I got out of prison. They stopped it because, well, the design. You're not supposed to stay out of prison now. I'm not supposed to stay out of prison. I'm supposed to go back to prison and keep going back to prison and keep going back to prison. I'm not supposed to come out in the community and start doing something positive.
That's right. They don't want you to do
See, that's totally anti what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to come out here for a few minutes and, mess up, go back again, come out, mess up, go back again. That's
Another
the
form of slavery. I went to prison and I came right out of there. I was determined not to go back.
well, it's a form of slavery. That's what it is. If you look at the 13th Amendment, it tells you that it's slavery. And we need to understand that's what it is, and that's why you're going to see more of it now than you've seen in a long time.
Yes.
Because see, they finna up the ante. They finna up the ante. That law and order mentality finna come back into America, and they're gonna be locking up people like crazy. So we need to get ready for change, and we need to change some things we need to get ready for. We need to make sure that we show up in force, show up in groups, show up in meetings to push this government to fix the VA claim back law. 1,000 processes in 6 months. Think about it now.
6 months.
They can be finished with it. It's a national crisis. I mean, that's where we already throw resources at it. Get 1,000 claim processes in 6 months, they'll be finished. But they'd rather for you to wait 4 years, and half of those people that's waiting are dying before they get their claim.
Yeah, they hoping you die before you.
But why would we want that to happen in America? We should want to give a person their flowers before they die.
Exactly.
See, we should be rushing to make sure that these people that was injured in service get their benefits and enjoy a quality of life before they die. That should be something that moves all of us to act, to say, listen, this man done gave up this part of his life. We want to make sure. The thing that worried me about Joseph a lot, Joseph fought for his benefits for years. For years. And then lived 2 years after he got it. See, we don't think about it. The backlog got to have a face. We got to make it meaningful. Otherwise, they're just going to see the number, 460,000 cases in backlog, and they won't see you. They won't see your experience. They never read your file. If they had read your file the way I did and saw what your husband had to go through, what his mama had to go through, before what you had to go through, and what your whole family had to go through, they would rush to resolve the case. They would rush.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
It ain't nothing but a thing. But a thing we want you in tune with every Saturday. And we're going to stay here. We're going to keep pushing the ball. Why? Because it makes sense. Somebody got to talk about it, and it might as well be us. It ain't no, five place or five-side chat, but it's a conversation piece. Well, we hope that one day it will be things that people can talk about at family reunions, because they're gonna have veterans in their family. See, one of the things that we don't have now.
Help to make the season bright.
Because that's an asset to the community. I tell the story about Taekwondo. JD wanted Taekwondo to have his benefits, but he didn't live long enough to see that happen. It happened though. And it happened because we believed, not because, JD, died before it happened, but we believed that JD was right, and we just kept going at it. And Taekwondo is fixed for the rest of his life. He ain't got to worry about no money to go to school. His school paid for. All he got to do is you just keep getting a little smart boy he is now, and stay out of the police way. Stay out of the police way. And he got a good life planned for him. And that's what the benefits are about. That's what the backlog should be seen as. People got to look at what is this backlog that these people keep talking about. These are 400.
Yuletide carols being sung by choir and folks dressed up like Eskimos. Everybody knows a turkey and some mistletoe help to make the season bright. Tiny tots with their eyes all aglow will find it hard to sleep tonight. They know that Santa's on his way. He's loaded lots of toys and goodies on his sleigh, and every mother's child is going to spy to see if a reindeer really know how to fly.